But they're nice meaty beans. Oh, that bite, wow. That was a bite of one of the pork ribs that I put on top before it went in the oven. The pork ribs are part of cooking up the Umbrian layer. My God, tender and tasty. But just the beans themselves, fantastic. Now, I have to think of John Marco. He's the one that taught me how to make this Umbrian sauce. But he made the only negative comment. I wouldn't call it a negative comment. He said, I would add some pepperoncino. And I knew he meant to add it to cook it in with it, which is a whole lot different than just putting it on at the end. To add a little bit of a heat to it. And he might well be right, but I've only got time for so much. He's a good advisor. There's something to this. This is pepperoncino. It's a little hot Italian pepper flakes that you put on your pizza. I'm not sure what kind of pepper it is. But even though this is fantastic, I mean, it's good beyond belief. You saw what went into it, or you'll see what goes into it. I think I'm going to put this at the beginning so you can see what we're talking about here. But I was thinking originally of just handing John Marco a bottle of hot sauce of some kind. You know, I've got, I don't know, 6 or 8 different kinds in the refrigerator. I was saying, let's just try a little bit of just hand John Marco a bottle of Tabasco sauce is kind of a joke. Because everybody else liked it like it was. But, let's see how that is. For me, this is the way. Because there's something about, you know, the essences of these hot sauces. The essence meaning stuff that goes up through your nose. Oh, that's good. I put maybe a little bit too much on there because, you know, you can't put too much or it covers up your food. Now, I don't want to get too far off the subject here, but that's why you keep hot sauce in the fridge. There are a lot of flavors in that hot sauce that seem to be preserved better if you keep them in the refrigerator. Right now, though, I think I'm going to just finish dinner. Maybe I'll have another comment here at the end, whatever. But there's some good things going on with the creation of this dish. I took 2 different things, put them together. I didn't create anything. I just, maybe the bacon bowl, I don't know. Okay, this is it. This is the final test. If you watched my last 2 baked bean videos, you know I'm leading up to baked beans for 4th of July. And it's kind of converging to, I don't know what I've had in my mind here. So what I'm going to do today here is just make a quick run through what I'm going to do. This half's going to get cooked today. You've seen me cook it before. It's the Umbrian sauce. Then this is pancetta, bacon, which is going to separate the Umbrian half from the baked beans half. Okay, this is what it takes to make the John Marco Umbrian sauce. Carrots, celery, cut nice and fine. That's the way they do it here. Still got to cut my onion, a couple cloves of garlic. This is enough for 2 people, okay? It's a rib each, cut in half so they fit in the pot better. It's 2 pieces of sausage. It's 2 pieces of celery, carrot and a half. It was big carrots, half an onion and a clove of garlic each. Gonna start cooking this in a little bit of olive oil, and then let the fats from the meat take over. And then it gets coated over with, topped up with a nice tomato sauce. First time I'm trying this one. They all seem to be good here so far, though. Okay, that onion might not look as finely chopped as it is, just because pieces stick together. That'll all come apart. And in goes the garlic, and it does the job very nicely, thank you. Okay, hear that? Oil's hot. I have no idea why people want to make the oil hot ahead of time. It just does not make any sense to me. Nor does pre-browning the garlic and or onions. It just gives them more cooking time than everything else. If you get them golden brown to start with, then you cook more stuff with them. It's just going to give you time to overcook. So I've tested this a number of times now. I just put my vegetables in and all the meat at one time. And as that sausage starts to cook and releases its fats, I keep a close eye on the onions. Like I said, I've done it a number of times now, and it works real nice. Okay, one thing I did neglect to mention was the spice packet. This goes in later, after the tomato sauce comes to a good boil. Okay, get about not even 5 minutes into it yet. You can see the onions are starting to clear there, and the celery's starting to clear a little bit too. So that's this is only going to take about another 5 minutes, maybe 10. Okay, this is stage one, coming along pretty nicely here. We're done. Okay, deglazing time. I'm just going to use a little bit of Pacini, Collezione Oro Gold Collection Chianti Reserve, €4 a bottle, which is about $4. Okay, now allowing for various boiling points, alcohol being the lowest. Putting alcohol, water, and fat. Alcohol is the lowest, and this has been boiling long enough. I'm sure the alcohol's boiled off. If it's not by now, it will be. So that's a funny thing about the deglazing. They say to do it that way, but once again, I do not see the chemistry for it behind it, unless you really want to concentrate the taste of the wine in what you're deglazing instead of spreading it as much through all of your sauce. Okay, so there's my, what's it, a half bottle of water. Probably maybe a glass of wine in there, a small glass of wine. You just want to make sure that this is runny enough, has enough water in it to boil slowly, and just let this thing boil nice and slow for a couple hours, stirring on occasion. Now this is the point the spices go in. They make it a little tricky because they're hard to stir around. Boom, they go there. And we get them down in there. Okay, so I've turned my heat down now. It was boiling along quite nicely. Now we just got a low boil. Steam coming off. So let's just leave it on with the cracked lid, and every 15 minutes stir it until about an hour and 15, hour and a half has gone by. Then you got to stir it a little bit more frequently as that starts to thicken up. Okay, we're about an hour and a half into this sauce now. Reducing the water boiling out, thickening up. Okay, I tested this a little bit ago, and it's starting to look how nice and thick. That's about right, I think. This is usually a polenta sauce, and I think it's going to work great on what's coming up for it next. So now's the time to remove I forgot to put a little bit of salt. Okay. And a little bit of formaggio, cheese. And this is my vehicle to test the sauce. It's going on top of these, quote, Italian-American baked beans. Okay, could have guessed that this would be as good as it is because I've been tasting the sauce, of course, and it's a fantastic sauce. But this is only halfway through the process. This is tasting of the sauce that's going to go on top of these Italian-American baked beans. But it's really Umbrian American baked beans. Umbria is the geographic center of Italy, landlocked, but fantastic food and fantastic people. Okay, 20 minutes into it, and we're starting to boil and bubble, and the bones are getting brown, so that's good. I've set my timer for an hour, and I might just give them a little extra time this time. Okay, so while the ribs are broiling, the short ribs, I opened and rinsed 2 cans of these Bianchi di Spagnola beans. They're almost like a lima bean size. Not super huge beans, but I'm thinking, that looks about right for this pot. I was considering a 3rd can, but no. Okay, so I'm going to mix up the main ingredients here to go with the beans. And that is a little bit more brown sugar than I intended. That's maybe 3 tablespoons. It's not a whole enormous amount, but let's put that brown sugar aside there so we don't knock it over and spill it all over everything. Okay, so the ketchup here, about a 1/4 cup, more or less. Same thing with the barbecue sauce and the mustard. And I suppose you could vary these a little bit. Okay. And mustard. Okay. Good. And then some lean parents on that. Right? So here's what you got. Got to toss that together now. And that goes in the bottom of the pan. And then a layer of pancetta goes on it. I'm going to take a little bit more lean parents. Yeah. Okay, so get a better camera stand, because this way I can use 2 hands. And that's, that lean parents is very liquidy, so that gives it a little bit of a, kind of lets everything run together better. And I'm just making sure here that I've got my mustard stirred in and things reasonably well incorporated. And try not to smash the beans. And there you go, there's that color of baked beans, right? But I don't want to have a ton of sauce on these. I want to keep them coated in the sauce, but not have them swimming in it. By the way, the new Dutch oven came in. So, for 4th of July, this pot, it's a 6-quart Dutch oven. It's going to be full to the rim with beans and the other stuff. But for now, this is my little test pot. So what I'm going to do is just put the beans in here and try not to get them up against the walls of it too much, because that next layer is going to be the pancetta. I want to be able to stick it to the walls, the inside walls of this, to make like a little bacon bowl, pancetta bowl. So just get my beans right in there and get that last little bit of sauce in there on them. That's good. Now I'm looking at this thinking, can I get another can of beans in there? I think I can. I'm gonna do it. Okay, I have a hard time passing up a chance to do a little bit of an experiment. So, maybe you can see here how how high the beans come up here. I can stick my finger down in there fully, even the longer finger, and just barely get to the level of the beans. So with a can of beans, and I like this idea, I'm going to just stir these in a little tiny bit of sauce and make another layer on top of these beans. Just put them in there. This is one can of these beans. And there's not a lot of sauce left in here. So that's kind of going to be a layer of naked beans on top of the other beans, which might be more interesting to eat. Because you can always mix the two types of beans, and you can mix the Umbrian sauce that's going on top of all of this right on your plate. It's kind of like draping sauce on spaghetti. A friend of mine swears by that. It's his favorite way. Okay, this thing with the bacon bowl is a whole different thing. This is pancetta I got at the grocery store. Pancetta is basically bacon here. She cut a little bit thicker than last time. I can't, it's going to be hard to tell how thick this is. But it's thin enough that I'll be able to lay it in here, side by side, and then in the other direction too. What do you want? Yeah, cook and bake. Mind your own business, little doggy. We'll get some later, maybe. So you basically put the bacon in two directions, you know, perpendicular to each other. And it's not going to form a perfect seal. And if you put the curved part of the bacon towards the outside of the pan, it doesn't exactly fit the curve of the pan, but you can get it over there and stick it up against the side of the pan and make like a little bit of a rim on this bowl of bacon that's going in here. I'll show it to you in just a minute. But put it in from the one direction. And this is what I wanted to sign, is this pot nice and clean without any sauce on it, so it would stick really well. Now bacon is like everything else on the planet Earth. It's always changing. And this is going to shrink. It's going to give off moisture. The fat's going to open up holes in it as it bakes. And that's part of I think what's cool about this is this bacon bowl will eventually develop holes in it as the bacon cooks. It's not going to cook like fried bacon because it's limited by the temperature of the oven. The bacon itself doesn't limit the temperature. Oh, there, look, we've got one piece of bacon left. She got exactly the right amount of bacon. Okay, pancetta, I should say pancetta. Then I'm just pushing this down with my finger, the edges of the bacon, so that it kind of like seals up to the bacon below it. Now, wait till you see this, it's cool. Check that out. See how that's sealed up against the side? There's two layers there, that's a solid 2 layers of pancetta. I use pancetta and bacon pretty interchangeably. I'll cook you a piece of meat. I've got a little dog down here that knows I'm cooking. So, now in goes the Umbrian layer. I got ahead of myself. Right behind me in the oven is the short ribs. They're coming along pretty well. They smell marvelous. The meat from those short ribs need to go in before the bacon. So that short rib taste is part of the bacon side, or the bean side. The American side of this dish. There's pork ribs and sausage, Norcia sausage. It's an Umbrian sausage on the top side. So I'm going to have to take this back apart. Okay, here's the little stinker that's been bothering me, because she smells these short ribs, which are coming along very nicely. You've given off some fat. You can see it back there at the back side of the foil. And yeah, they're okay, just give them their time. Well, I'm just gonna let that keep on going for Another 15 minutes. That'll be a full hour, which is another little experiment. In the meantime, the bacon did come back off the beans okay, and I left these ones over here that were in direct contact with the beans, but those beans, you might remember, don't have as much goop on them as the other ones, so there might have been a little serendipity involved with that. In any case, next in goes the meat from the pork, from the beef short ribs. Noki, don't worry, be patient, you'll get some. I think that's what she's smelling. The short ribs, they're good. Oh yeah, they're good. In the meantime, the bacon did come back off the beans okay, and I left these ones over here that were in direct contact with the beans, but those beans, you might remember, don't have as much goop on them as the other ones, so there might have been a little serendipity involved with that. In any case, next in goes the meat from the pork, from the beef short ribs. Noki, don't worry, be patient, you'll get some. I think that's what she's smelling. The short ribs, they're good. Oh yeah, they're good. This good fat came off during the broiling and straight in there over the beans. Okay, so this is about how much meat remains from the two short ribs. There's a couple dozen nice bites in there. So that's going to go in right on top of them. Right in on top of the beans before we rebuild our bacon bowl on top of them. So this is definitely layered up nicely. Let me show it to you. Okay, see the short rib meat in on top of the beans. And remember, the beans are 2 layers. Now, here goes the bacon bowl reconstruction. So I'm putting my rounded edges to the outside of the pot and pressing them against the pot. Because the pots, I was careful not to get any sauce stopping along the pot, up the edges of the pot. And that lets the bacon sit really nicely. So just put them in there. I want to get it just completely covered in this direction. Okay, and that leaves me, okay, enough to cover in the opposite direction. If I see any little holes there, I'm sort of poking them shut. Trying to get this bacon bowl to have some integrity so it holds before it starts to cook. It holds the sauce in place. So let's keep building it up and covering the holes and just pressing it together so that the bacon fat sticks to the bacon fat. And that's the kind of the glue that's giving this bacon bowl its integrity, or pancetta bowl, whichever you prefer. If you order bacon at the store up here, they would know what you're talking about. But pancetta, they know very, very well. Okay, so I am liking the way that's built. I'm just pushing the edges up here to seal nice on the edge. Now let's show you the bacon bowl part of it. So it looks like that. Okay, now the oven's still hot from pulling the ribs. So I'm just going to put my Umbrian sauce in here. Okay, so this is the final assembly. I have my bacon cross-laid in there. There's a good 10 slices of bacon for this top. And now comes the Umbrian sauce, which I spent the day on yesterday. And its main, well, you can go back to the beginning of the video if you skipped over, see how to make that. I've got a couple other videos where I made this Umbrian sauce. I'm gonna put in here some of the sausage. I'm gonna just put in here 2 pieces of sausage, 2 ribs. Okay, so there it is, covered up in the oven. Had to move the rack down, and it's still warm, but I've got to go to my bottom broiler here, there, the bake setting. Take my temperature down to about 175, maybe a little bit less than 175 C. It's about 325 F. Okay, and this is going to require at least 2 hours. So, just sit back and wait for the aromas to start coming out. All right, I hope you try this. Okay, let's just take this piece of sausage out of here and put it aside. And then maybe we can dig down the whole way to the bottom. Through the bacon layer. Kind of feel that. I'm trying to get up here from the bottom of the pan. Yeah, the bacon layer is real. I want to see if the beans, oh yes, look at those. Look how white they are. That's the layer that didn't have all the same amount of the American spices on them. Oh, we've got some bacon there to deal with. I think we can deal with that. But let's get the whole way to the bottom here to see if we can get down to the very bottom layer. No, those beans look the same. They look very similar. There was kind of a white layer of beans. It didn't have as much sauce on it above. And there, you can't really tell the difference between those and the ones that are on top of them. But here we've got pieces of, these are pieces of, the pork spare ribs, lots of bacon, piece of sausage. Okay, beans get back down in there for later. And let's see what we've got here. Part of the bacon bowl here. But the beans, oh my God. They're good. You can see, sort of by the color, I don't know, serving them helped mix the top layer, the Umbrian layer, with the American layer, the beans. They're not like overly spiced, like in a horrible, like you can't taste so much the ketchup and the mustard and everything beating out the bean flavor, which is exactly what I was going for. I guess a couple of parting comments here. The bacon as a separation between the 2 layers and the idea of it deteriorating and letting the flavors mix after a certain time, it's not a bad idea. But this time, it worked, but this is the bacon the way some people like it. And it's very good this way, and it's more healthy this way, with the fat right there. Crispy bacon's not healthy. And it's good. I say bacon, because I said it before, bacon, pancetta, whatever you call it, it's very, very good. So this is a very, obviously very meaty, beany dish, lots of tomato sauce, vegetables in the Umbrian part on the top. So it's pretty balanced. The fat content might be high, but if it's not fats that contain a lot of growth hormones and that sort of thing, do we care? No, we just love them. Oh man. I'm sorry to be challenging to people,
But come on, this is how things get better. Come up against these baked beans. Good luck. I'm sure if you get anywhere near close, you're gonna enjoy the hell out of them. And all of your friends will too. Everybody you serve your beans, you come up. But if you just attack them any way you can, comment, I'm happy to, I don't care. I mean, you can say anything good or bad, I don't care. But 4th of July is coming up. And I think baked beans have been long overlooked. At least in my circles, they've been long overlooked as to how awesome they, really could be. All right, take care. Bye. Oh, bon appetit.